Hi everybody, I'm bringing to you today a Mist of Pandaria Red Paladin PvP guide. So let's talk about what Red is in Mist of Pandaria. It's a support spec with a huge burst, basically. So on the support side, you have a couple unique abilities to play with, and I suggest using a party 1-2 macro for them. I will leave the macros in the end. So, for example, you have a Hand of Freedom, right? You have your Blessing of Protection macro, and you have some off heals, right? I even macro those. I also use Word of Glory macros on the off target, and I mean party 1, party 2. And then the big one, and this expansion is actually Hand of Sacrifice, right? It not just reuses damage taken by 30%, but for Retribution it also dispels magic effects. So you can dispel your healer from Poly, from Fear, and whatever. So paired with Hand of Protection's physical dispel, you are hard to land the go against. For offense, I'm using a focus macro to put a Mouseover focus, and then I have a couple abilities that I use. So for example, Fist of Justice or Hammer of Justice focus macro, and the kick for focus targets. You can also use Turn Evil focus macro, I have it, and Repentance if you run those spells. And actually that we are talking about offense, let's talk about the bread and butter of Red, Burst. How do you do that? First, you want to always have Inquisition up, but the rotation outside of that would be Guardian of the Ancient Kings, so it lasts 30 seconds, but it's wrapping up. So you want to land it for 10 seconds, and then you pop Wings. After Wings, with Wings you actually pop Trinkets. In the end, when you have a high stack on Guardian, and actually if you run the Glyph of Word of Glory, you probably also want to have a 9% damage bonus, then you land an Execution Sentence. So let's see this in action, right? I'm gonna pop 3 Holy Powers into an Inquisition, into a Guardian. Then I'm just doing damage for 10 seconds, nothing much. Maybe you have to off heal, do damage, maybe land a Hodge. Okay. Now you pop Wings, and now you are really blasting. You can see Guardian is stacking up on the corner, increasing your strength. It's a 12 stack. Okay, I land a heal, and then I put an Execution Sentence. So I land the Word of Glory, get the damage bonus, 9%, and I land an Execution. This can easily crit 100k plus in PvP. Next one, let's talk about race. In Alliance, you should always play Human, because you get 2 DPS Trinkets. I would not play Dwarf because of that. In Horde, I suggest playing Blood Elf because of the Silence ratio, but you can also play Tauren for the extra HP and the stun, although I don't really like Tauren because that stun could mess up your DR for your Hodge goes. Next up, let's talk about talents. Basically, this is the spec I usually run, and there are some changes that I make against specific setups. So you always want to pick Long Arm of the Law for the extra judgment run speed. I usually run Fist of Justice, but there may be some setups where you want to pick mostly Fear, sometimes even Repentance. Let's say if you play 2s with a Rogue, you probably want to pick Turn Evil Fear. Selfless Healer is by far the best. I've tried the other 2, not really viable. I would like it to note that you heal more on your friends, on your party, than yourself. So if you have to pick who to heal, and you have a Word of Glory and a Flash of Light proc, I would just heal myself with the Word of Glory and Flash of Light my partner. This row, it's usually you actually play Clemency for the double Hand of Protection, Hand of Freedom, and Hand of Sacrifice. But against casters, I would suggest just usually running Unbreakable Spirit for the 40% damage reduction. Against mage, it lines up perfectly on Deep Freeze. Holy Avenger is a no-brainer. It's not just giving you 3 holy powers instead of 1, but even those generators have 30% extra damage. So paired with Wings, it's like 50%. Sometimes you can try to run Divine Purpose or even Sanctified Wet. I tried this against mages and hunters. but not really worth it. So none of the two is really good. I would just run Holy Avenger all the time. And on the last row, Execution Sentence is by far the best. Sometimes you can try Holy Prison, maybe in trees against some rot comp like LSD and other athlete combos. But I would just generally run this talent you see here with Clemency or Unbreakable Switching. And let's talk about Glyphs. So I would hard lock Templar's Verdict, which is the Glyph of Templar's Verdict, which is 10% less damage for 6 seconds after you use Templar's Verdict or Exorcism. This is usually up most of the time, so it's great. And Word of Glory, you always heal, even in trees. So that extra like 9% damage if you use 3 Holy Power heals is huge all the time. And as said on the burst video, it's also something you want to use before you use Execution Sentence. The third glyph can vary. So if I play against non-physical heroes, I just run Divine Shield for the extra heal. And maybe especially against priests, if they can dispel your bubble. So you press bubble, you heal up, and then they dispel, so they cannot one-shot after a mass dispel. Or you can pick Divine Protections if you face in 2s melees or in 3s melees. But in 3s, I actually like to keep bubble if there is only one melee, one caster, right? Because instead of keeping the 40% magic reduction, it changes to 20% for all. So you basically reuse magic reduction from 40 to 20. Well, I don't actually think that's a good trade if you have one magic caster anyway. So let's think about an RMP. I keep probably this setup. You can also play Burden of Guilt instead of Bubble or Divine Shield sometimes, but usually your partner has a slow. And on the minor glyphs, they don't really matter. You can play the Mounted King. That's actually not bad, but that's all. And for stats, you always want to have 3% hit cap and 3% expertise, but at 3% you can still parry, so keep that in mind. It can be really annoying against warriors and and Windwalker monks. So after that, you want to get as much strength as possible, followed by haste, crit, and mastery. So that's also how your Reforged should look like. You can see in my Reforged Light Classic add-on, I have melee and expertise soft cap logged in, and then I prioritize haste followed by crit and mastery. So let's talk about gear. You just run the main set 5-piece. Really what you can talk about is off parts. So you want to run the following off parts you're gonna see on the screen. For neck, cloak, bracer, and other off pieces. In general, that's kind of it. You don't need any PvE gear, so hooray. For enchants, you're gonna see on the screen what type of enchants you should run for each piece. It's really clean cookie cutter, so nothing further to talk on those. Gems, well, I saw some people gem fully haste, but not really the most value, I would say. You kind of want to hit strength in the reds and strength haste in the yellows and strength PvP power in the blues, and that's it. Let's talk about professions. First of all, tailoring is a must, I think, for all classes. It gives you a 4000 attack power for rat. It's huge. And secondly, I would say herbalism, because haste is by far the best secondary stat for you. It has a 20-second duration, exactly like your wings, and a 2-minute cooldown, exactly like your wings, and you can use it with your wings. So this is the perfect profession for you. Tailoring and herbalism, by far the best. As discussed, I'm gonna put all the macros in the description. Generally, you want to have focus macros, but for sure you want to have party 1 and 2 utility and off-heal macros to be working well. Of course, you want to have your focus stun and focus abilities and focus kick. In general, I run all my hitting abilities with a start attack. I think it's a habit from older classic expansions, but I just kept it. but it's not necessary. Next, let's talk about add-ons. So I'm gonna highlight the ones which are crucial. You can play Arena Analytics. It's a nice extra feature to see how the last games, what was the win rate, what do you struggle against. But in general, I would suggest to downloading better Bliss frames. It really helps you to see more like retail style. It's by far the largest quality of life update. I'm showing you on the screen what I play, and then you can pick it yourself and make the changes you want. Next up, I would suggest playing Battle Plates, which is maybe higher quality of life upgrade than the frames version. I'm showing you what I play. Going forward, I would suggest playing Big Debuff. It's really nice above your target's head on their nameplates. Next up, for sure you should play Buff Overlay. It's on your raid frame, on your party raid frame, seeing better the debuffs. And as red, you want to see that all the time, because you always want to dispel them maybe from DK dots, or dispel their poly and those kind of things. Next, you always want to play Frame Sort. This is huge. It's a life changer for me. If you have your party 1-2 add-ons actually named party 1-2, then you want to know what is party 1 and what is party 2. So this replaces the party names of the players with just party 1 or party 2. Next up, you want to play always Gladiator Lossa. It basically speaks to you in the game, what's gonna happen, polymorph, stun, fear. So you are always up to date. And as Pala, you always have to watch out for these spells, and this really helps with your reaction time, I would say. Omnibar, of course, everyone wants to play Omnibar these days. It's a must, actually. For me, I place it in the middle of my screen. I added some other spells that were missing, like Deep Freeze or Scatter. It helps you a lot. It helps you to pace your game. If you know the hunter has Scatter, maybe you can land a Sacrifice just in time before he dispels your Hand of Sacrifice, so you can break a Scatter or break a Vibrant Sting. Omni CD is to track your party. If you play with a hunter, like I play with a lot of hunters, I want to see if he has Scatter, if he has Trap, if he has Deterrence. I want to see if he has Deterrence to know if I have to commit a Trinket or a Bubble even to heal him out, or he can pop a Deterrence. Of course, you're gonna be on voice lots of the time, but even then, you can plan better. Omni CC is just generally good to see the cooldowns on your abilities remaining. I'm not sure if Mr. Pandaria has it already built in. I just always download this add-on, no matter which version of WoW I play. As shown before, you always want to play Reforge Light Classic and set up your build, because then you just click Calculate, Show, and Reforge. And it reforges for you. You don't have to spend minutes doing it yourself. And something that I use, which I don't think many people use, is just tell me one. This is like a budget Vikaura, but I like it because of its simplicity. So you just have your abilities and debuffs you want to track, just like a Vikaura here. You can switch them off and on. You can adjust it as you like. I think this is really user-friendly, easy to add, easy to remove. And for last would be your Arena interface, which would be S Arena. This is by far the best add-on you can have. It's really easy to set up. You just pick a profile if you don't want to mess it with yourself, and then boom, you have it. You get nice DRs, nice trinkets, and everything kind of lines up. This is by far the best I've used so far. So thank you, and that would be all. And if you have any ideas, if I missed something or want to know something different, please let me know. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe, and take care. Bye guys.